mean to blast your ears out. I'm so sorry. Hello, welcome to another Band Batch stream. Let me turn my piano down. Today, it's just me to start, but I'm actually going to make today a call-in show. And so I've never done this before, but I've always wanted to do it. And hey, Jeannie. And so I'm actually going to, in just a couple minutes after I do like a little bit of intro, laying down a little bit of overall stuff, I'm going to share the link that anyone can call in if you feel like also sharing your thoughts. I know that at least one person is going to call in a little bit later, but yeah, I thought I'd just try this. But otherwise, it'll be kind of like it was a couple weeks ago when I was just going through the episode, sharing my notes and the music and just talking about it. I thought the episode was pretty interesting, and I think I actually really liked the music in it too. Hey, the Masked Jedi. I think the one of the parts of about this episode that I really liked, and I don't know if anyone else caught this, was, and I don't know if it was intentional, but I feel like it was intentional. I would be willing to bet money on this. It sounded like there was a Godzilla kind of homage with the Dryax. Is that what it's called? Dryax? Yeah, with the Dryax, that big creature in the third act. I thought that was really cool, and I was very excited to hear it. Did anyone else pick up on that or get the same sense that it was possibly a reference to Godzilla? Like the original Godzilla theme? We'll get there. We'll get there. Anyway, yes. Okay. I'm glad I wasn't the only one. Yeah. That was really cool. 'Cause it was not just, musically, but like also the instrumentation. It was like on that low brass instrument. What is it? Trombone, bass trombone. And it was just a very ominous, like aggressive, big sounding theme. And I'll do a little bit of a comparison of the two themes, Godzilla and Dryaxzilla, a little bit later. But it sounds like, did you hear the way Rampart screamed? Yes. That was really funny. I think they're continuing to do the very like, I don't know, the humor with Rampart on the team. I kind of like that he's here now because he is quite a foil. And also, what was that line that echoes? What did Crosshair say? They're like, is everyone safe or is... Okay, where is it? He said unfortunately at some point, and it was really funny. Yeah, did Rampart make it? Unfortunately, yes. Yeah, that was pretty funny. Okay. This episode once again started out with another like sudden musical opening. And so I'm willing to bet that the next episode, the finale, is also going to do that. And again, I'm liking this trend of like the back half of the season doing this. I think it really sets us off quickly, like so we can quickly jump into the episode. And I always appreciate that. It started with like, it was like, something like that. Like with the drums, like boom, 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 boom. And then we got this like, going into the... with a very subtle Bad Batch theme on top. And last week, Christina was talking about fake triplets versus real triplets. She was kidding, But if Christina were here, which she's sick right now, if Christina were here, or if she watches the replay, I think I'll have to confirm this with her, but I think she would call what we hear at about 39 seconds into the episode probably real triplets, according to her definition, which is in the triplet figure, rhythmically, 3 separate notes rather than 2 oscillating notes. I do not have a new Justin sample, unfortunately. Justin is up to his, what's the phrase? I don't really know. Up to his neck, up to his ears, with running sound for a festival all weekend. He's been working very long hours. The World Music Festival at Cal Arts, if anyone's in LA, or there's also live streams, is actually always really fun. Okay, so there is this other thing that happens at the opening that I really like, and it's on violin, so I'm kind of biased toward it. But I thought it was a really fun way to do a scene transition, and it was from Echo to, it was a transition from the Bad Batch to Tantus, and it was like, sorry. Appreciated that string slide. In general, I think the strings in this episode sounded better than they have in many other episodes. And I don't know how that is possible. I feel like they're probably using string samples, like a sample library. I would love to know what sample library it is, rather than live string players. But sometimes it did sound live to me. Yes, Max. The end credits work actually pretty cool. I liked this. I liked the end credits. Anyway, then we're on Tantus, and we get the clone, the Hemlock theme, the Tantus theme, whatever you want to call it, on violin. And this is only the second time we've heard it on violin, or this is only the second episode, I believe, where we are starting to hear it more on violin, I think. And it's... And then even just transitioning to another scene, we hear the first 4 notes of the clone facility theme. Just... And, okay, about those 4 notes, a little bit of, I don't know, music theory or something. So those 4 notes, G sharp, A, B, C, they alternate half steps and whole steps. So the first one is a half step. This is a whole step. And that's another half step. And the 4 note, okay, so a group of 4 notes would be a tetrachord. And how do I want to explain octatonic scales? So the alternation, is it alteration? No, it's alternation. Okay, that's what I mean. The alternation of the whole steps and half steps, when you stack it up to an tetrachord, what's it called when it's 8 notes? Octachord? Is that what it would be called? Up to 8 notes. That would be what's called the octatonic scale. And those are like super Star Warsy. They're used so often throughout John Williams' scores. They're just everywhere. You can find octatonic scales everywhere. And what we hear in the clone facility theme, at least when they just use the 4 notes as a transition, is we're getting half of that. So we're getting a tetrachord that is still like a diminished tetrachord. So it still evokes the octatonic scale for me and is always very noticeable. What makes an octatonic scale so useful, and probably why it's used so much in film music, is the symmetry of it. It makes it really easy to modulate, which is like to change keys. And in film music, there are so many modulations that follow the action on screen that it can really help to have a musical device that makes that smooth. Because otherwise, like an example of like the most common, I don't know, pop example of a modulation would be like just a sudden, like, I don't know, like a sudden key change, you know? Like you could even think of in Duel of the Fates. Wait, no, that does modulate more smoothly. Well, but anyway, a key change. It's kind of hard to do without it being noticeable sometimes. And octatonic scales, because of their symmetry, can kind of make it easy to morph into other keys or modes more easily. Hey, Ender. Jeannie, I actually agree. The entire episode, sound design, and score sounded very original trilogy. I agree. Asterisk. I think this episode sounded more original trilogy than previous episodes. Obviously, there's still a lot of new sounds in this episode too. Mainly like, okay. So there was actually really good through composed like action writing, I thought, including the little like woodwind flourishes. And maybe I'll get more into like why I think it sounded very original trilogy, and that the use of the woodwinds was one of the reasons. And then one of the ways it didn't sound like the original trilogy was just the heavy use of ostinato. It didn't distract for me because I was delighted to hear the sort of really orchestral sounding writing. Maybe that's another reason it sounded original trilogy, is because this episode didn't lean like predominantly on synths. And that might be why Justin didn't have examples, maybe. But yeah, it was lots of orchestra stuff. It sounded very original trilogy. I'm curious, Jeannie, or anyone else, if you have a sound design or like any sound effects that were particularly original trilogy to you. And I'm going to drop the call-in link if anyone dares. I mean, like, even if you just want to share something for 1 minute. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what sound designy things struck me as original trilogy like. I'm actually searching David W. Collins' Twitter really quick, to see if he put anything interesting. Okay, no. Okay, no. And then let's see what the Kiners say. Like the slide carousel for accessing files by Echo. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yes, you're right. You're right. The like projector sound for sure. Mm-hmm. Yep. And I want to check. That was let's see. I know I have notes on this. Ben Burt, A New Hope. Because if I remember, and I don't want to say something factually incorrect, but if I recall, that is that's a real, that's like a projector, right? like changing slides. Like, I think that's what it is. Like the sound when R2 on the Death Star looking for the tractor beam. Yep. It was a projector, right? Okay. When I look up projector in Ben Burt, it gives me stuff about the lightsaber sound. But I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Did you hear the way Echo said thanks for the hand when he took out the droid and stole the hand? Yes, but now I want to revisit it. I'm going to revisit it. That was really funny, I thought, when he took the hand. He takes the hand around, let me see. It's around 6 minutes. Yeah. Hey, Matthew. Yeah, let me re-listen to that when he takes the hand. The hand looks good on him. That was a good scene. Okay. Okay, I'm starting at 5:45. I don't know if that might be too early. Lots of good musical moments. Yeah, that's too late. Okay. Our science vessel's on final approach. Also, Matthew, I thought of you when we got to the Zillow Beast thing. I was like, maybe there's something to your prediction. The TIE interiors have that whistly modem sound, very original trilogy. Yeah. I can't find the timestamp where Echo says thank you for the hand. But now I'm reliving just good stuff. That's actually what I was thinking too, Matthew, because I'm surprised Echo didn't have a droid hand to take on and off long before this. I was thinking that too, because if I hadn't known that he stole the hand and I just saw the cut to the part where he was using it, I may have thought just, oh, Echo switched out his hand. Like, I'm also a little bit surprised that he didn't have that attachment. You know, like a vacuum cleaner has attachments and stuff. I feel like if you have that hardware on you, you should be able to attach other things. Otherwise, I don't know, what are you even doing? The scene where Echo is infiltrating. Oh, when Echo disguises as a stormtrooper might have been a reference to A New Hope when Luke and Han wore stormtrooper armor. Okay, Arik Fonts is calling in. Should I answer? Of course. Okay. Might have been a reference. Hi. Hi. Wait, can you put on headphones? Okay.
Oh.
Or
Wait. Okay. Can I be heard?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh wait, but I'm also hearing my echo. Why? It could be a me problem. I'm not sure. Is my sound coming out of your headphones?
Yeah, it is.
Weird. Can everyone else hear me echoing?
I can't hear you echoing.
Okay. Could be a thing that I just need to turn down to not hear myself. It doesn't. Okay. This. Okay, whatever I did right now helps. Can you talk so I can see if I can hear you?
I am talking now.
Okay. I do hear my echo, but I think it'll be all right. Oh no, Jeannie. Oh, everyone else hears echoes. Okay.
Yeah, everyone else is hearing me echo.
Are you using Chrome?
I am.
Okay. Hey, K-pop times. Um,
Hold on, if I mute myself.
well, if you mute yourself, then I don't hear the echo. That means the echo is coming from your sound somehow. Is it from another tab or something?
So it said that there was uh, no audio processing on this call.
Oh, interesting.
Are you able to change that at this point?
Probably not. But
Okay.
I don't see what happens if you turn your volume down so I can just see if it's headphone bleed. Okay. Now talk or say something. Or okay. Say something.
Oh, sorry.
No, no, it's
I'm
okay.
saying something.
And I do not hear my echo anymore. So it is I think it's headphone bleed.
Okay, but I can't hear you if my headphones are turned
Yes.
all the
Can
way
you
down.
maybe we can just split the difference?
Yeah, is it just headphone bleed?
It might be because I don't hear because now the echo is very soft.
Okay.
So can you hear me at all?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, then this is good. An echo while talking about echo. I think it's because the Apple earbuds, like the headphone, is so close to the mic. Anyway, hi.
Hi.
Thanks
I
for.
didn't have anything prepared to say.
That's okay. Um, oh yeah, I was talking about the part where echo is infiltrating the like network computer and takes the droid hand and stuff.
Hmm.
And let's see. I think this is a good comment. When Echo disguises as a stormtrooper might have been a reference to A New Hope when Luke and Han wore stormtrooper armor. Sounds plausible.
Hmm. I think, uh, I think that the lack of Echo using a robotic hand throughout is actually I think it's overall I like it as the norm, almost as if because if this whole time he could have done that, it means that he just didn't care to, and I like that
Oh,
pretty
you
well.
like the read that he chose not to, that he just chose not to use it?
Right. That he could have at any time, but the only time to use it would be to disguise himself and appear
Mm,
not like he is.
yeah. I wonder if there is like I will not, I'm like maybe a rejection of some sorts of like, I'm not a droid. Don't mistake me for a droid
Hmm.
type of thing going on.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
You were just watching A New Hope this morning? That's pretty great. Recommend. The music when Echo is breaking into the network is pretty fun because it's a violin thing. It's like whatever, something like that. Um, I don't know if you recall that. That's what happens.
Yeah. Um, sure does. Um,
Oh, I botched the ending. The ending is cooler than I played. Okay. Crescendo.
yeah. I you commented earlier about it being sounding through written.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
Oh,
What do
right.
you mean by that?
Okay, yeah. So through composed would be like music that continues on without much repetition. So, like, a typical song would not be through written because it's like I don't know, like a song, maybe like there's a verse that keeps repeating with different lyrics and stuff,
Hmm.
or if it's like a loop that keeps playing. But this episode sounded more through composed to me because it meant like it felt like it was often developing into new places without much backtracking or too much repetition. I will say though
Hmm.
that the way that it's I still feel like it moves forward in like in short bursts. Like it never lasts for too long before it's cut off and something else starts to happen. I think that's a
Right.
function of the action.
Yeah. So you think that that's more like how John Williams composes?
Yes, definitely. I think John Williams's Star Wars scores sound way more through written than most of the shows tend to.
Hmm. Yeah, I actually read or heard recently that, yeah, it might have actually been from your podcast, that one of the composers talked to John Williams uh, about scoring for Star Wars, and he said uh, that he doesn't spot it as a complete film, but he writes the music for the beginning at the beginning, and then moves along kind of
Oh
chronologically through the movie. So on like a macro level.
yeah. Chuck, this is correct. Not modular. And
Mm.
I think Ender, you're referring to the John Powell interview where John Powell was like, when he was writing Solo, he had a chance to talk to John Williams and was like, how do you spot it? How do you spot the movie or whatever? And he was like, you start at the beginning and go to the end.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so is that, I guess, is that philosophy a lot different than other composers?
That's a good question because it's also, I think, production philosophy or something.
Mm.
The violin sounds good with the echo. Oh, good. Um, it's
I'll
it's
try
like
to
a
mute
reverb.
during the echoes or during the violin parts, I guess.
So, for those who don't know, a spotting session in like making a film is when the composer sits with the director and whoever else, and they go through the film together and talk about what musically should happen in the various spots. So that kind of helps the composer understand what the emotional goals are for certain scenes, or like what the director, editor, whatever has in mind for the aesthetic and the tone to hit. So they might go through, for example, they might go through a movie and say like, for this scene, I want it to sound kind of like, and then there might be a temp track that it might be temped with other music, placeholder music that will then be later replaced by the composed music. But they might be like, I want it to be this vibe. For another one, scene, they take notes on the different parts of the movie. And I think I'm I'm will I'm betting that most film composers would probably like to be able to maybe go beginning to end, maybe.
Hmm.
But I think sometimes maybe the completed set pieces or the parts where the vision is clearer, maybe those would happen first. I just hear all kinds of stories about like some cues from the middle being like the first to be written or something. So I don't really know how to, if I can speak to like a
Yeah,
general rule about it.
I've heard of, I've heard both directions on like there are frequently sections of movies now that the visual effects and special effects are not finished shooting or compositing or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and so you might need to compose to nothing, um, And I wonder how much of, I guess I wonder how much of John Williams's approach is a result of the era in which a lot of his work was done versus the more modern, especially Marvel driven workflows. You know, if you're kind of forced to, and also that some directors like to cut to music, and so it would be easier to have something composed or use a temp track.
Yeah. It's easy to see how music composed for film scores can sometimes be very close, can like hitting the same beats as the temp track.
Mm-hmm.
If the editor is cutting the film to the temp track, and then the new thing has to hit the same tense moments and the same, like, I don't know, explosive moments at the same time, it kind of, actually, I would actually really like to hear like a supercut or a comparison of temp track and what ended up, and kind of
Yeah,
like
I,
see
I've
if
seen that
the
for a few
timing.
different.
Oh, you have?
I've seen a few of those around, so they're definitely out there. I'll try to find one later to share to your Discord or whatever.
I actually would be curious if Bad Batch is temp tracked at all. I don't actually think it is. I don't think it is, but maybe it is. I don't know if the Kiners have ever talked about it.
I've definitely heard. Oh, I've definitely heard in Rebels. There's a section that is, I swear, is temp tracked. There's actually a recurring theme. They use it in a few different episodes. That is definitely one of the chase scenes from Raiders of the Lost Ark, and there's a few others like that. I don't know about the Bad Batch specifically, but I'm fairly confident that they have had temp tracks for a number of themes for the animated shows.
Yeah, there's also a moment in Rebels where it sounds like maybe it was temp tracked, or either temp tracked or deliberately trying to do it in the style of a Philip Glass.
Oh,
And
interesting.
that would be like, I can't remember what the track is called, Journey into the Asteroid Cluster or something, like Star Cluster, Journey into the Star Cluster. Yeah, is sounds it like it's very obviously in the style of Philip Glass.
Wow.
Okay, Matthew says the Kiners talked about revisiting old episodes after seeing where the series was going, specifically when Tech died and going back to the previous episode to change one of his final moments. Oh, like before the episode was released.
Mm. So like a very last minute change.
Interesting. And also, would they have not been?
They're not shown the scripts. I saw an
Oh, that's
interview with
right.
them.
Yep, yep.
They
I saw that same interview.
yeah, where they said that they don't see the scripts the first time that they learn about an episode is watching the episode to spot it.
That's wild. I feel like that's. I wonder why that is, because I feel like as a composer, you might want to know where that character's plot is going so that you could maybe plant some seeds in earlier.
It might be a matter of like keeping your job manageable.
True.
Like maybe it's easier to just focus on this week.
That's also very true. I understand that. Sometimes not being told all the information just means that your burden and expectation is less. Yeah. Yeah, I might prefer that too, depending on how many jobs I was juggling. Okay, so Echo breaks into the network, and let's see what happens after that. Scorch informs him that the science vessel is approaching. This is okay. Echo is disguised. Yes. Oh yeah, and then I was. Oh, and then the music cuts out. That's right. The music cuts out when we get to the jungle, and then the sound design of the jungle is really prominent. And this is around like 6:50, and I appreciated that moment. I wish I could identify all of the animals, all of the sounds we were hearing. Oh yeah, the TIE fighter. Uh-huh. Yeah, then there's like birds in the background. We hear barking something.
Where are you in the episode?
About 650 is like about 655 is where the music cuts out because we're in the jungle and the sound design of the jungle is like super front and center. And there's some banter. And this is where I think, yeah, this is where Crosshair says, unfortunately, yes. Did anyone recognize any of the animals that were happening? I guess any of the, like, what jungle sounds did you hear? Like, there's a lot of rustling, there's various birds. Um, I did see it. The violin sounds good with the echo. It's like the natural reverb, or it's like faking the reverb, I guess.
Um, so I definitely hear some of the again Ben Burt audio. Uh, it definitely sounds like the scene when just before or while Leia meets Wicket.
Oh, yeah.
There's definitely some Endor sounds, and especially that gap where there's no music and there's just forest sound. But it's
Mm-hmm.
also got other things layered on top of it for sure. I'm trying to see if there's any identifiable like Jurassic Park jungle sound too, because it would not surprise me.
Yeah, that's a good thought. And again, I wonder how many of the sounds they're using are like the classic sounds. How many of them are new sounds? I think it'd be easy to probably do either way. There's not really, I don't really hear any super identifiable bird calls, but I'm also not an expert on the jungle life of Star Wars. But then that would kind of, mm, now I'm thinking about native species to different planets and how the Empire may have disrupted the ecosystem. I'm sure they have somehow. Anyway, so the music during this jungle stuff, I mean, it does eventually come in. There's a lot of ominous brass here, and I like it a lot. Like at 756, there are like these brass swells that occur. It's like, there's strings too. And then dee 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 dee.
Yeah, I'm,
It's
I'm
like
just listening to that.
foreshadowing. What was that?
Oh, what's it foreshadowing?
I mean, I feel like, I mean, I don't know if it's actually, it feels like foreshadowing for the Dryax beast.
Oh, is that what that one was called?
Yeah. And I think we got those in one of the first episodes, right? I like how Wikipedia describes it. Rampart rests his head against a large furry Dryax, which just sounds
That's
cute, I guess.
probably from the name Dryad,
What's a Dryad?
which is a nymph or in Greek mythology, a nymph or nature spirit who lives in trees and takes on the form of a beautiful young woman, often depicted also as tree-like.
Oh
And
shit.
this monster has leaves on its back.
Okay.
The Dryax does.
Yeah, I think that sounds accurate. That sounds, yeah, good call. A dryad is a nymph or nature spirit who lives in trees. Yeah, okay.
The
Um,
spirits of oak trees.
yeah, because the way that the Dryax is I mean, let me see if I can find a picture of the Drax. Okay. Yeah. It looks like a Godzilla thing.
Yeah, but in this episode, it was much clearer that it was made of leaves when Rampart rests his head against it.
Uh-huh.
Because that's why he didn't notice it.
Let's see if there's anything specifically. Like, I didn't actually read that it was made of leaves. I thought it was just like there were lots of leaves on it. But either way, they also are a type of humanoid, huge thing. Like, I feel like Dryad is probably where it came from. But wait, are you saying that it's maybe made of leaves?
No,
Or has?
I'm saying that it had leaves all over its back,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
which is Dryad related at least.
Yeah. Also, okay, I wonder if the giant creature in the jungle is native to the jungle or an experiment gone wrong, as seen with the Empire's old cloning base.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think the first appearance was this season of The Bad Batch. And so we haven't yet seen this creature on any other planet. The Bad Batch has a lot of themes of the Empire trying to control nature with technology and failing. Very true. Very true. Yeah. And then, of course, Omega trying to find, like, stumbling upon the Zillo Beast's enclosure toward the end is another reminder of that. Which I was hoping the Zillo Beast would come in, but it was just so dead on. Like, maybe Matthew's predictions will just come true.
Yeah, I feel like the Zillo Beast is definitely going to become a problem because it sounds like Omega saw the Zillo Beast and said, "I have a plan."
That's true.
Almost immediately later. So it's like, I feel like the plan is Zillo Beast.
Yeah.
So good news for some of us, huh?
Yeah. I wonder how Omega plans to make sure the Zillo Beast is on her side. Maybe it's like her forciness will come through.
Oh yeah, she could use the training from
Asajj.
from Ventress.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, maybe it turns out she did learn and grow from that. The concept art of the Dryad looks like Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy. That is, you're right, it does.
Matthew has a great point about the themes.
Story-wise, the clones need something big to take on Mount Tantus. The season has made it clear that in the past, the Empire has lost control of their experiments, and they have the Zillo Beast.
Right. And also the Jurassic Park element of all of this requires the monster to get out. That's
true. What do you mean big to take?
big, something big to take on Mount Tantus.
Okay.
The line break is confusing.
Yeah. They need something big to take on Mount. It's like enjambment. You're right. But also, I feel like it's going to rely on Omega being able to make this happen.
Definitely.
But also, we did get confirmation that Emery is on their side this episode. So yeah, what do you all think of Emery? I'm glad that...
Now, did you think that she was on their side before pressed? Like before being pressed, or do you think that she was still on the fence, like hesitant about it?
I think she was still hesitant about it before Nala Se made it explicit.
Oh, but you think it was Nala Se who made it explicit?
I do. Who do you think made it explicit?
I think that she was maybe like it was hard to read in the scene, but it seemed like maybe it was Echo who pushed
Oh.
her the last little bit, like that today she wasn't going to try and break anybody out, but
Mm.
now she's going to do it.
Huh. Yeah, I guess there could have been multiple points. Because it also could have been like Omega has tried to press her multiple times.
I'm just curious, like when, because she can't express herself or doesn't express herself a lot externally,
Yeah.
and I wonder like if she like if it's hard to tell when she made a decision and when she was just thinking about, like she has seemed conflicted for a long time.
Yeah.
At what point was she no longer conflicted and resolute?
Okay, so if I chart, okay, I think I think when she started to, I think she was on the fence. I think she was just trying to remain neutral for most of the season. And then I think when she was made program director or whatever, it was head of science or whatever, and got to see more behind the scenes, I think that's when she started to push over to one of the sides,
Mm-hmm.
just seeing how Hemlock was treating the kids. And then I think the conversation with Nala Say maybe made her have that, like when you, okay. Are you familiar with the experience of getting an inkling that you probably should do something about something, but it's not necessarily that strong? You're kind of like, I'll wait to see if there's a bigger incident that pushes me. And then you read something or someone tells you something that makes it like, oh my God, I'm not ready to do this, but I have a feeling in my stomach that this is going to happen. I'm going to have to do this. I don't want to yet, but damn it, like I know that it's inevitable now. I think that's what happened after the conversation with Nala Say.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the more taking action parts happened maybe with Echo or maybe with each progressive day. I don't know. I feel like this is where, like, if there were a book about the Bad Batch, like if a book were written about the Bad Batch, or like a novelization of the Bad Batch or something with more POV potential, I feel like this would be an interesting. I think Dr. Carr would be an interesting character to explore, like internally.
Yeah, definitely. Who would you want to write a Bad Batch book?
That's a good question. Because I could go with like just who my favorite Star Wars writers are, but I'm trying to think of who I know who has written about the clones in a way that I have liked.
Oh.
Yeah. What about you?
I haven't read enough Star Wars books to have a good answer. I think who wrote the Queen's Peril books?
Oh, E.K. Johnston. And who also wrote Ahsoka?
Oh, did she? I haven't read that one yet.
Yeah. I think she would be a good one. I think she'd be good.
I think that she is good at figuring out people's motivations behind scenes that where things were ambiguous or even where things didn't make sense,
Mm-hmm.
and adding
Yeah.
enough backstory where you're like, oh, this was like a whole part of it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now I've only read one of her.
The Queen's Peril or whatever. One of the queens.
Yeah, the first. I think it was just the first one. It was.
Yeah. I've read I've read all of them and I've read more of her books and think I think she'd be a good pick. I don't know. What do you all think? Would you like to see books written about the Bad Batch? I mean, I really would because the books can show, I mean, books can show more about the interior thoughts about characters. Okay, some comments. Hemlock's gonna meet his demise by the teeth of the Zillow Beast. Okay, we're still betting on how Hemlock is gonna die. I think that's possible. I think that's possible. I still think it's possible that what's his name, Rampart, kills him.
Yeah, I think a lot of people can you ride the Zillow Beast? Do you think that's even like where would you sit? Second, is the Zillow Beast conductive?
Right.
With that,
Will you die if you? Is it safe? Okay, we know that the answer to that is no. It's not safe.
but is it grounded?
I feel like a Zillow Beast is an entirely different. It's an entirely different league than a Rancor. So many levels. Yeah, Zillow Beasts are wild. Let me think. Okay. Like, we haven't even. We're getting Godzilla music in this episode for the Dryax, but like, that's got nothing on the Zillow Beast. Okay, while I think it would be cool to see Omega riding the Zillow Beast, in my opinion, I think it's more likely Omega will release them and in the chaos have a huge jailbreak. I think it's probably more likely the release as well. I just hope they don't do the riding. Like, it would be very impressive if Omega is able to ride the Zillow Beast. That would show like a lot of mastery over whatever it takes to harness animals and make them trust her. But I kind of hope they don't do that because it's been done so many times before. The riding of the animal. It'd be cool to see something different. Instead of calling it an M count, they should call it an F count, like a force count, since those children are force sensitive. I would devour anything Bad Batch. I'm afraid Rampart might get away. No.
Oh, yeah. So it really depends on what message we want to get from, because they definitely set something up with Rampart this time. Mm-hmm. He had that line, I can't remember. It was when he was talking to Crosshair in the jungle.
Oh! When Hunter's like, did Rampart make it?
No. It's when he has a one-on-one conversation with Crosshair, and he does the "we're just because you're like me."
Yep. And
we're
he's
on
like,
our
I've
own
changed.
side. Right, and he's like, yeah, fat chance. Which establishes kind of a foil relationship between them that I assume is going to be relevant in the final episode. That, like, is... Yeah, that like, oh, that Hemlock might get away. Well, Rampart also. I want to talk about Rampart real quick because they set him up with this foil relationship, and I think like he's going to.
Oh, you mean Rampart and Crosshair still?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah. Rampart and Crosshair, where. Rampart may abandon them or betray them still. Mm-hmm. And Crosshair will also have an opportunity to, in order to demonstrate that he would not, that he has changed. Because right now it's been called into question whether or not he has changed. And so to resolve that, you need to demonstrate that in practice.
I think that's a good point, because also this conversation they had was far from resolved. It was like
Right.
clearly, like
A part
Rampart
A.
didn't believe, or not Rampart. Yeah, Rampart didn't believe Crosshair. He gave this prolonged look that was like, sure,
Yeah,
sure, you've
that's
changed.
in storytelling, they came into conflict, and then they reached an impasse, and then the scene ended, and that's a good format for drama in in writing.
Yeah.
And they did it to the T, so I feel like it has to resolve. And and then yeah, but then with Hemlock, uh, there's like there's like who whose story is best resolved by a final confrontation with Hemlock, and how does that story you know, and I don't know, because like Emery would have good reason and a good scene of confronting Hemlock, and Nala Se would, and Omega would, and any of the Bad Batch would, and Crosshair would, and I'm just not sure how they're going to divide up the. And is it better that he dies by his own hubris, which is a classic move for villains?
Totally.
You know, the Zillow Beast. The Zillow Beast is a good example of that, right? That would be his own comeuppance.
So it's either hubris or a direct confrontation with,
Right.
yeah. I think that's a good question. A good way to frame it is like, who narratively would have the best, who, like if only one person gets to kill Hemlock or have like a confrontation, who should it be? Yeah. What would best serve the story?
And that is also, I will not soapbox on your show about how our stories don't have to be purely retributive and like punishment for your crimes, and we've talked, I think you talked about that with Crosshair
Yeah.
too. Does Crosshair deserve to die, or does Crosshair deserve redemption? Was a topic of
Yeah. A few weeks ago.
discussion a while back. And like it doesn't have to be one or the other,
I agree.
but it is also the framework that they're going to use.
Yeah. 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 Jeannie meant Rampart, not Hemlock. Oh no, sorry, meant Hemlock, not Rampart. That Hemlock might get away.
I think it's possible.
I think it's possible as well. I also don't know that they'll do it unless they're gearing up for something else. I think Hemlock needs to die for Project Necromancer to be reset to the point that they are still scrambling, trying to get Grogu's blood in the timeline of The Mandalorian. What's funny is like there's so much time that elapses between now and The Mandalorian. We can fill it in with so many different things.
I'm gonna do a wild called shot prediction here
Okay.
that Hemlock is going to inject himself with Omega's blood, and he's going to have force force powers in the final confrontation.
Or he'll die from it. Like, turns out it doesn't go so well. Or something.
Yeah. There'll be some, or no, and then he uses the Force to try to control the Zillow Beast, and then the Zillow Beast kills him.
Well, that's hubris.
Yeah. I think it works.
Yeah, it works instantly. Just you inject yourself with Omega's blood, and then suddenly you are a Force wielder.
Yes, not just force sensitive. It
Yeah,
skips straight to
skip straight to
straight
the
to
adulthood.
trained.
Like, yeah. Or Crosshair could kill him. I imagine a scene where he gets shot by Crosshair the same way he killed the governor on Death 6, because when his theme comes in, that theme would be epic. That's another good way to predict, is just what would make the best musical moment.
Well, then I think we
Hard to
need
say.
Darth Maul to show up.
Oh, well, there's still time.
He is still alive at this time.
Yeah. They just need to lose Omega in order to reset. Maybe. The thing is,
That's
like,
true.
the science hasn't been explained well, and I think it's fine to not explain the science, but then I think because they haven't explained it, it can't be used as like that something like this, the impact of it wouldn't be as understandable, at least for me. I think it's fine to leave it open and then not use it too much. I don't know. All the sunshine and rainbows in Omega's blood kills him. Here's a possibility. A character, Rampart, Omega, Crosshair, have an opportunity to save Hemlock from the Zilla Beast, and after a verbal exchange, leave him somewhere he gets eaten. Did this happen in The Bad Batch, or did this happen in another show or movie where... Nope, it happened in a movie. It happened in... Game Night? No, it happened in some... Oh, no. The Nice Guy? Where there's a kid in the movie and they witness their dad, or like some figure that their dad's friend. They don't want to see their dad's friend kill people. This is not the plot at all. It's just a little detail. What I'm getting at is that I don't think Omega would do it, but if Crosshair did it, like left Hemlock to be eaten, I think he would want it to do it when Omega wasn't watching or something.
Oh, interesting.
If Omega did it, that would be pretty hardcore. I think it's possible.
I think more would have to be set up between those two characters. I don't think that Omega has interacted with Hemlock almost at all.
That's true. Yeah.
I think
I think it would be kind of cool if Emery did it, like in a very cool, composed way. Maybe she just injects him with something, but then he probably has antidote or immunity or something. But yeah.
Yeah, I actually think that Emery probably has the best, very calm one-liner and walk away sort of conversation. I think it's going to be Emery. I think that their relationship is the one that is shaped the correct way for that ending. I
like the Emery theory because also it would seem to come out of nowhere, but we know that it's not nowhere because we already know where her loyalties are lying at the moment. And then the fact that she's also a clone kind of plays into it. Like, she's been complicit so long, it's sort of like she might feel like it's almost her duty to right the wrongs that she's taken in.
It's sometimes not clear how much in advance they've planned a story, especially for TV shows and like this. But I really like that. If like Emery has been foreshadowed since the very beginning of her story, the very beginning of when we've known her, with like even going back to when she first broke the rules for Omega by giving her
The doll.
the doll.
Yeah, I think I would be actually fast. Yeah, if they had this planned all in advance, it would be fascinating to rewatch this season and be more aware of little signs.
And Crosshair also has had
Mm-hmm.
like it's been very like slow, deliberate character storytelling.
Yeah. Matthew, I'm also wondering about this. I also wonder how long the last episode will be. It feels like a lot needs to happen that I don't know how they can wrap it all up in the length of a typical episode. I agree, Matthew, unless it's like the amount of time that we have left to wrap this series up satisfyingly, it almost sounds like we basically only have time for a big battle or something to just resolve
Right.
things and then like a like little thing at the end, a little nightcap or something. I hope it's pretty dialogue heavy though. It won't be, but like I also don't know how they'll wrap it up in 22 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, I think it has to be longer because I guess what are the outstanding threads, right? There's the CX clones. There's
Mm-hmm.
CX2 specifically,
Mm-hmm. Right.
which I don't
He's
think
just
got seen at all in this episode.
yeah. And he's got to come back at some point, I'm guessing.
Probably.
And then there's the breakout that will probably happen,
Mm-hmm.
destroying
There's
Tantus
the
facility.
break-in.
The break-in, the breakout, destroying Tantus, seeing how Rampart ends up, if he ends up helping them or not, the Rampart Crosshair relationship, and then there's just
Resolving Emery.
resolving Emery, and then there's resolving Nala Se too,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's what happens to the Bad Batch, what happens to the clones after this,
And what happens on Pabu.
and what happens on Pabu. Oh my God, there's a lot. Yeah, I imagine a scene where Emery shoots Hemlock the same way Crosshair shot Nolan, with the same reveal angle shot from the outpost. Huh.
Mm.
Like where someone shoots him and we don't see who it is until after. Yeah, I
But
could see
this
that
time it's Omega.
too. No, they release different versions of it to different Disney Plus
Mm-hmm.
subscribers. We all get a different version, and everyone's talking about, wow, that ending. That would be pretty funny. How are they going to get Rex to come to the rescue? I forgot about Rex.
Oh yeah, actually, that was part of the overall
Oh, and the
plan,
Lost
wasn't it?
Boys. That's right. I mean, I don't know if this is what you were referring to, but now I'm also thinking of them. Like, they should come back, I feel.
Yeah, yeah, but there is actually a I think that they talked about like getting all the clone like where have all the clones been disappearing to, that whole investigation. I feel like some people have a vested interest in
Yeah,
figuring out where all these clones are. They going to resolve the politics stuff?
right. Like, are we going to see, is Chuchi going to gonna show up?
She's going to be like, this is going to be like a Return of the King ending where there's like 4 or 5 consecutive endings of the episode just to resolve all of the things that.
I hope that everyone retires on Ida Floor, the planet Hunter mentioned all the way back in season 1. We went there, right, too?
I don't know.
Let's see. It is ultimately tabled. Okay, wait. The rogue clone commandos of Clone Force 99 considered hiding out from the Galactic Empire on Ida Floor. The idea was ultimately tabled as they did not have enough fuel to reach Ida Floor. Oh, okay.
Oh, Ida Floor is Florida chopped up. I just
Yeah,
realized. He wants to retire to
to
Florida.
Florida. Maybe Zeb is there, or Zeb will be there in the future. It's too early. Oh, no, maybe Zeb might be there. I don't know. I don't know. I don't remember Zeb's timeline before Rebels or after Rebels. This would be after. No, this would be before Rebels. Oh my god, what am I talking about? Yeah, the Chuchinator. That's good. So let's talk about Godzilla.
Okay.
When the what's it called? Dryax. When the Dryax is revealed, then we get this. Okay, I need to find a low brass. Just give me a second. Ooh, no. Okay, I don't know why it's like putting multiple instruments at once. I'm just gonna restart my piano. Okay. The suspense. Okay. I'll put a Oh my god. Sorry about that. It took a while for the piano to start up. Apparently. Um. Okay. Okay, this will be fine. We get this. So very low brass, emphatic, like chromatic, lots of half steps. Theme. And to me, it instantly reminded me of Godzilla. Wait, you're on mute.
Like the classic Godzilla theme, you mean?
Yeah, because this
Oh,
is
yes.
Godzilla. This is Godzilla. But like they both have the. It's just so similar. It's
Yeah.
very similar. Jeannie, I
Yeah,
know that you
that
said
that
you picked up
feels
on that. It does feel intentional, right?
yeah, I think that does sound deliberate.
And because of like what we're seeing on screen, it does also like thematically match. Which for me begs the question of what a Zillow beast would then sound like. But it is a very strong reference to me, and it's only because of seeing Godzilla -1 earlier this
Oh
year.
yeah, that was really good.
Yeah. Yes, it felt intentional, especially when a big toothy monster stands up. Yeah, that's the thing. It also kind of looks Godzilla-like. And yeah, I wonder if they haven't, the Kiners haven't tweeted about it, but I kind of, again, I should probably just tweet at them someday.
Do it right now.
Okay, what should I
Everybody
say?
start chanting "Do it" in the in the chat.
Okay. Okay. Hey, Kiner Music. Should I put the transcriptions or should I just give a timestamp? Okay, I'll just say this, the music is the low brass Dryax music in the Bad Batch. Episode 314.
Yes, genie.
I'm gonna say, is the Dryax music in the Bad Batch episode 314 an intentional reference to Akira Ifukube's classic Godzilla theme? Is that fine? That sounds fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me make sure I spelled the composer's name right. Ifukube. Okay. My first Kiner tweet. Okay. I did it. Thanks, everyone. You should interview the Kiners as they have been doing YouTube shows. Yeah, I really want to. Have I made any effort to do this? No. I
I
feel
wonder.
like I should, but I also I always feel bad like taking up people's time. So I'm always like nervous
It's
to reach out.
it's not taking up people's time to like if they're doing YouTube shows, it's because they want to do that. They don't have to do that.
That's true. But have they been doing more than one? I've only seen one interview. Maybe there's been more. Oh, thank you, Chuck. Yeah, no, I do want to interview them because I want to ask specific music questions. And the interview that I've already seen of them didn't really go, in detail into the music. It was more about like the themes and about clones and stuff, which is cool too because they're big fans of clone stuff. But there's lots of there's lots of specific music questions that beg to be asked, I think. But anyway, maybe at some point. I can imagine a scene where Rex is making a speech to all the clone commandos on Tantus, and they all drop their weapons the same way Hauser did on Ryloth, but without getting arrested. Oh, I would like to see like a solidarity moment. I would like that. I would like if that happened. And they all turn on Hemlock. Like a reverse Order 66. These are all good theories. And if James were here, he'd have so many more theories.
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm definitely not James.
I know. No one is James. James is his own special person. And for the finale, we're going to make sure that everyone is here, which might mean changing the day to Sunday or something. I'll put the event up on YouTube and I'll tweet when we have a day. But anyway, okay, so there's the Godzilla thing, which I'm just going to call it the Dryax Zilla theme. And then next week when we get Zillow stuff, we can have a third thing to compare it to.
Is there not a Zillow
Good question.
score from the Clone Wars?
Ooh, that's a good question. Maybe there already is a Zillow thing. Does anyone know? It seems like other people are more recently up to date with the Clone Wars. It's been a long time since I've watched it. Is there Zillow Beast music? I'm genuinely don't remember. I mean, I'm sure there are. There is. I'm sure there's Zillow Beast music. For example, okay, I'm looking on YouTube. The Zillow Beast escapes and rampages through Coruscant. Okay, is there music so far? Just sound design?
There is one for the Bad Batch.
There is what?
There's a track
From the Bad Batch?
from the Bad Batch called... Okay, copy link. I'll send that to you here.
Okay. Cool, thank you. Okay. The track is called... Oh, it's called Zillow Beast. Okay. Zillow Beast, Bad Batch. Okay. Are you listening to it yet?
I am. Brass and stuff comes in at the 2-minute 10 mark,
Okay.
or 2-minute 09.
Is it the same thing?
No.
Okay. Good. Then that means the other thing is a dry axe theme. Okay. I'm listening. Oh, it's high brass.
Yeah, it's a very different.
Oh, that is very different. There still is low brass, but it's more the pedal tones. It's not like melody. And it's strings. Oh, this is very different. Okay. That reminds me of Into the Maw from Solo: A Star Wars Story. And I've heard it a couple other times too, where it's like it almost sounds like a creature call, a creature cry. It's like an onomatopoeia for the music, rather than depicting the grandeur of the animal or whatever, the size and the feeling about it, like the ominous feeling. It is like emulating the sound that it would make. That's what it sounds like to me, because it's like...
Yeah.
It sounds like a horse cry. No, it's not a horse, but it's a trumpet. It's going like... Yeah, there's a very different approach. Okay, maybe they'll do that again. It's hard to tell if it's like super themey, if that's like the motif of it, because it's just over some kind of basic ostinato, action ostinato. But that would be cool. Max says, I would ask the Kinders how they made their music for Star Wars and what synths and plugins they used. I really want to know that too. I want to know what like virtual instruments they use also.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to ask how much they do tracking of their own, because they play instruments, right? So they will track themselves doing some stuff. So I'm curious what they play and how they stretch their music performance skill set, like, because they must stretch it a lot. I mean, that's what composers for film do, especially if you don't have an unlimited budget. Okay. The Kinders love the Bad Batch and seem to want to support it with interviews. They also seem to enjoy talking about the series and music. That's true. And what instruments they used. Exactly. Also want to know this. On the other interview, there was an interesting detail. And it was, let's see. I'm trying to remember what episode it was. It was like they mentioned an instrument from episode 3, 2? Do you know what I'm talking about from that interview? It's like, it sounded like it was PVC pipes, but it was some other brass instrument. Just the key clicks.
Oh yeah, I saw that one. I think it was a baritone saxophone, or...
Yeah, I think that was it. Yeah.
You probably play that audio on the stream.
From the interview?
If you find it. Yeah, from the interview.
Yeah, what was the interview from? Okay, Kinders. Questions for the Kinders. I have a note on this already. And I'll put the link in the stream. Did I not save it? Okay. Kinders interview. It was on what was the channel? It was on... Was it on Condor Call?
might be.
It was on. Oh my gosh. Okay. Convor or something?
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds like that could be right.
Sounds potentially right. I'm just going to look up Convor. I'm so sorry if this is. Oh, I think that is that. Okay. Yep. Okay. I'm going to share the link first, and then I will try to find the spot in the interview. Crosshairs theme, crosshairs art. Okay. Oh, there's chapters. Oh, that's very good. Okay. CX2 theme, overwhelmed, the saxophone. Okay, good, good. I will play this audio from the interview, and I will put the link to it here. Okay. Maybe I can.
Thatcher's mom asks, any new instruments or techniques that were exciting to use?
I have been wanting to bring this up. I forgot to talk about it at the beginning of the season. Was it episode 2 or 3 that we meet the new clone boys?
Oh, yes.
I think it was episode 2. There's this artist that I love. His name's Colin Stetson, and he's a saxophone player who plays a bunch of different saxophones in a really, really interesting way. And it gave me the idea to use like my main instrument as a piece of percussion. That's like a lot of those like wide shots of that planet. We were trying to figure out a way to like make it feel kind of distinct. So like I took like I'm surprised no band nerds have like come after me and like that's the saxophone. What are you doing? Because it's literally just like closing all of the pads on it. I thought you could hear.
Can you hear
So
it?
cool.
Yeah.
It's that kind of
Can we
thing.
do a
If
delay on
you
it?
go back to that, that was really exciting. We can't
That
use
was awesome.
saxophone for anything. I don't know how Colin Stetson does it, but like whenever we try to use saxophone, it just sounds like a Kenny G moment. It's not
I
it.
believe in you. We're gonna make it happen. I know we are.
But I've been getting back into playing saxophone
Yeah, so that, I'll play the
a
sound again.
lot. Like a Kenny. We can't. All of the nerds have like come after me and they're like, "That's the saxophone. What are you doing?" Because it's literally just like closing all of the pads on it.
And if you recall that sound, it happens in the jungle, right? Oh, so maybe we'll get it again. Oh, wait, you're muted.
It was a jungle on a different planet.
Oh, that's
though.
right.
But those clones have got to come back.
Yeah. Yes.
I hope.
It's okay. It's at 5:20 of episode 302. Yep. And it's very good. And they just put a delay on that. And that's a very fun fact. I want to know more of those fun facts. Yeah, okay. So there's only one more musical thing that I really noted, and it was when Omega's in the dumbwaiter. Oh, well, actually, okay. There's like a creepy there's a part with a creepy like we had get more creepy M Count Kids stuff, like something like, sorry, it's gonna be brass. Yeah, let's change that back to piano. And then we do get that 4-note loop that we started hearing last episode, which is, I called it Scalder versus Omega. It was used with Scalder again, so maybe, and it was. We did hear that again. And then the other thing we hear is, I liked this moment. It was like a bass. It was looped a few times, violin and cello. Okay, let's attempt. So the violin's going. And the cello's going. Sorry. So it's. Oh my God. Yeah. I like how it kind of sounds prim a little bit. Like it just the staccato, like it's a very boxy rhythm. Like it's very like it's in neat cells. Like this is like the kind of rhythm that like in a rhythm class when you're learning, I don't know how to play music. This is like the kind of rhythm that you would make like a beginner clap out. You'd go like da, 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 and you might say like, oh, what are the like, are you familiar with like the rhythm names? Like, I don't know if it's just a Suzuki thing, like peanut butter
Probably.
sandwich and stuff like that.
Oh no, not in those terms. No.
Yeah, so there's like, I guess people make up their own too, but like one thing that I think for violin and piano that a lot of people learn early on is like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and then if you learn Suzuki, there's like the twinkle variations. So basically, you'll go like, like. And then the variations are like. You basically do the different rhythms, and there's a bunch of names that people will do, like peanut butter sandwich, pepperoni pizza, and stuff like that. Anyway, this rhythm reminded me of like the type of thing that you say peanut butter sandwich to.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. I guess that's not how I learned rhythms, but I can imagine if you started learning really young, how it might help you. I mean, there's a reason Suzuki has trained so many people, so I'm guessing it works to an extent. I don't know. Does anyone in chat know what I'm talking about? Or have you learned that in school or something? Yeah, run. Okay, I'm looking happy. I'm peanuts and popcorn. Mommy likes candy. I'm just reading this from someone's blog. Unicorn is for like triplets, or chocolate. Chocolate, chocolate, chocolate. Unicorn, unicorn. Anyway, straight eighth notes. Wish I had a watermelon. Okay. I've watched that interview and tried to ask them questions about their music, but they didn't see them. Ah, so you were on the live stream then. Ah, sorry you didn't get to get your questions answered. Maybe if I interview them, should it be a live stream?
Oh, interesting.
I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is for that. But anyway, do you remember anything else notable from this episode? Or does anyone else want to chime in or have something that we didn't talk about? Looking through my notes. Oh, there were cool lab sounds in Nalase's lab.
Oh, which ones do you mean?
Let me find. It's like after the 18-minute mark. Okay, I will find a timestamp. Like 1821, starting there. So first of all, there's the like, I can't even describe what they all are. There's a lot. Like the machines doing their thing.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, what was the timestamp again?
1821. Like there's the, and then there's the whirring, like, and then there's the, so will all the Bad Batch survive? Next week I'm gonna wear I'm gonna wear my tech shirt next week. I have to remember. The Masked Jedi. I hope they all survive. Will they though? I think they will. I think they will because the way that because they already gave Tech such respect in his death. I think they've set a precedent for handling deaths of main characters in a way that can give more closure. Ooh, someone is joining. Okay, stay here. I'm gonna make a third. Okay, I'm gonna go back to. Okay. Hello, Tom, right? Oh, wait, I can't hear. Oh, wait. Can you hear me? It is working.
Well, you asked to call in, so why not?
Yeah. Would love to
Hi.
hear your thoughts
You mean-
on any part of this conversation.
Oh, always interesting. I mean, I'm a musician myself, so
What did you think of the music in this episode, or a specific part?
it's a bit of echo on my side.
Oh, sorry.
Hold on.
Oh, yeah. So, what did you think of the music in this episode? Tom, can you hear me?
Yes, got up now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of delay. That's why it's a
Oh,
bit
okay.
weird. Anyway, yeah, quite enjoyed the music.
Do you want to share more thoughts about it?
Uh, can't really think of the music itself. It's basically the title. Every time I hear the title Flash Strike, I immediately have to think of the Flash theme from Queen.
Queen. Like the
Yes.
band?
Yep. The-
Okay, I'm looking it up.
yeah, have a look for it.
Are you familiar, Ender? Yeah, okay.
80s kids, yeah.
Well, okay.
So-
I think oh, yeah. I've heard this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
just didn't know the name.
Yeah, it didn't make me wonder if there's any chance of ever having a Star Wars movie with a band, pop, rock, whatever, composing the music.
Oh, that's an interesting proposition. I have no idea if they would do that yet because of John Williams still being his shadow still being over everything. But that does make me think that I am surprised they haven't gotten more bands to do like the diegetic music, like the source music.
Hmm?
I feel like that would be a really good idea to give different like cantina music or whatever a more unique sound. Why haven't they done this yet?
Yeah, why is Daft Punk not in Star Wars or somebody like
would be
that?
cool. I mean, they did Thundercat, and that music was cool, and it was very Thundercat-y, like very, electric bass heavy.
And Starship.
And for that's right, Jefferson Starship for the holiday special.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
They also did for the Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor diegetic music. They're all done by real life bands.
Really? Who?
Yes, the Who, with an HU. It's a Mongolian metal band for Jedi Fallen Order, and it's why I played the game. Is I watched the intro cinematic with their music in it, and I was like, oh, I need more of this.
That's a really good idea.
Sounds good. Yeah. Can't really think of any current bands that would feel right in Star Wars. That's the trouble, I think.
Yeah, it's also it was very popular for bands to do scores for a very brief amount of time in the 80s and 70s and 80s, and then it's kind of gone back to it may actually be John Williams'
I was going to
influence
say, I
that
feel like
brought it
John
back
Williams
from
might
the
be
brink.
directly responsible for this.
Yeah.
Because now when bands
Could be
do
weird.
music, or in the 2000s and on when bands do music, it's more like they're still trying to do it in mostly in like a film composery way, like Daft Punk, like Trent Reznor. I imagine a scene where Hunter is surrounded by loads of stormtroopers and commandos and injured, and in an epic moment, he gets out of a thermal detonator and blows up the same way Tala. Is that what her name was? Oh, Tala did in Obi-Wan. I know who you're talking about. I can't remember the name. Was it Tala or Tala's? Tala. Okay, it was Tala. Yeah, I remember that because there was like violin music during that part.
That's
Although I can't imagine the same. I don't know if I can imagine the same type of epic moment because we don't have time in 22 minutes to have a joke.
I do think the next episode has to be longer than. It wouldn't surprise me if it was nearly an hour.
An hour.
there's a lot to wrap up, that's for sure.
Yeah, there is. That would be interesting.
Yeah. I'm personally still waiting for the backstory for Emery. I was hoping for like an episode mirroring the Omega episode, where you see her waking up and doing the same thing. I was hoping there was going to be a similar episode with Emery showing her as a little girl or something like that, how she grew up, or like, yeah, something like that.
That would be interesting. And now the more I think about it, I would like a book that kind of centers, or at least delves into Emery's perspective. I think it's interesting also, like Emery has been kept pretty neutral throughout this season for a purpose, I'm sure. And as such, she doesn't really have like I can't think of a strong musical theme associated with her. She's kind of just part of whatever else is going on, like the Hemlock theme and like Project Necromancer and stuff like that.
Hi, Phil Shostak.
Yeah, hi. Stuart Copeland from The Police did the Droids cartoon theme song in the 80s. Oh. I guess that still does fall into the 80s category, but still.
Yeah.
That's cool. Do you know of any other instances of diegetic, like source music, being sourced from like bands, artists? I'm just really feeling a need for this now. Because, I mean, even for like I'm sure maybe the deals aren't maybe good enough for like famous bands. Like, I just mean like the licensing deals and whatever. Maybe they probably don't get much money out of doing this, but it would be cool if even the, the DJ Rex's playlists at Oga's Cantina, if sometimes they came from band, because sometimes they sound a little bit samey. I know they come from different artists, but I don't know. It kind of feels a little samey to me sometimes. Fun to see Ender on here. And hey, Xanthi, love the show, Band Batch and otherwise. Thank you so much. I imagine a Taika Waititi Star Wars movie would go the band route. Interesting speculation, and I can see where you're coming from with that. Because even in Our Flag Means Death, there is a lot of, there is a composer for that show, but it is very stylized. And I hear like classical music in there sometimes, like written hundreds of years ago, classical music, or like Baroque stuff in there. Good show. Hello, Phil. I love your Star Wars art books. Yeah, I feel like, yeah, I am a fan as well. I'm flattered that you're here. So, Bad Batch. I think my hope for Fennec Shan's season 1 theme to come back, I'm pretty much ready to let that hope die. I don't think it's coming back. I think it just was that one episode. Let's see. I'm trying to think of any other musical hopes that I have for the last episode. And feel free to jump in if you have any others. God, there have been a lot of them.
She might.
I'm just looking through the whole list. Well, we're definitely going to get the Noble Clone a lot. And we did get in the end credits this time. The end credits were different than usual. And they were quite nice. The Kiners did tweet something about it. They said that they wanted to just blast the low brass just screaming throughout most of it, and then only realized after finishing it that the brass should hold off until the end. It sounds like...
Is that referring to the end credits themselves or to the whole?
I think it was the end credits because it was a quote tweet to someone posting video of the end credits. And they do have brass coming in toward the end of the end credits. But the brass use in this show, I mean, at least this season, has been quite strong from the Godzilla theme. To also, I'm remembering, the not Kylo Ren theme. If you remember that. Do you remember that?
I missed, did they use the not Kylo Ren again?
No, but it's also like the not Kylo Ren. Okay, I'm just going to put the transcription back up here. It's one of those themes that is so short and there's like little chromatic sections. Like it could be easily missed for other things too. But this one time they used it in episode, when did they use it? Episode 11, season 3. So it was like, okay, and then it's like, let me just make sure I'm in the right clef. Yes, okay. No, yeah. Where I think if you were to separate the harmony from like if you were just to extract the melody, I think I would recognize it, but I could also see how you could obscure it with a different rhythm and it wouldn't be recognizable. Like those 3 notes could pop up, and they do pop up, frequently. It's just 3 notes. It's just when you stack on the rhythm and the harmony is when it starts to build a case for it just coincidentally or something sounding like Kylo Ren's theme. And I think it was unintentional. If Crosshair dies in the season finale, I can imagine his theme's going to come in a sad and epic way. Yeah, I agree. And I don't want Crosshair to die.
Yeah, I'm hoping that Crosshair won't die, but of the Bad Batch, I think that he is the most likely to die.
Yeah.
Story-wise.
Definitely.
Tom, do you have any particular prediction or hope for the last episode?
apart from the Emery backstory. If I'm not mistaken, the title is something like "The Cavalry Arrives," something like that.
Yeah.
So probably a bunch of clones arriving, Rex, anybody like that. Maybe Fennec Shand, or anybody else we've seen. Haven't seen Sid. I don't expect it to come
I
back,
don't
but
think
you never
Sid's
know.
Yeah, you never know.
So yeah, something like that. Probably quite a few people, since, well, I'd have no idea how the batch is going to break out, apart from stealing a ship yet again.
I, I wonder if Fee is going to mobilize Pabu Island and if like all of those people are going to come out and help.
Be fun, yeah.
Yeah, that would be fun. I feel like the batch wouldn't want to put them in danger, but I feel like they might. I don't know. I can see a possibility that that happens. I think Fee will be there though, and she's probably gonna. Maybe she'll have a line that's like avenging Cross or Tech. I don't know.
I think that we're going to make a whole bunch of predictions about what we hope happens and,
Oh, for
and
sure.
who we hope shows up, but that it will and that initially might feel some disappointment about what does and doesn't happen, and then probably subsequent rewatches be like, oh yeah, I guess I guess it made sense not to do that. Like for the showrunners, they know if Fee doesn't show up in the next episode for whatever reason, then they know that the last time that Fee showed up was the last time that Fee shows up. You know, where we don't have that kind of perspective yet. And I think that's a common thing that happens to all of these shows is with audience expectations is that when you're making the show, you know the end, and so you know the significance of each of the moments, but it sometimes takes multiple watches to get it, you know?
Yeah, that's very true. And normally I would say that the music usually betrays like I sometimes the music gives that away. Where I don't know if you ever watch something and you're like, why is this music sounds so final or here or so serious or something? Like when I interviewed the person who played cello for the Rise of Skywalker and the Last Jedi soundtracks, she said they got the cue sheet or they got the cue for something entitled a cue entitled "The Kiss," and they're not allowed. The musicians weren't allowed to know anything that happens in the movie, of course. And she remembers turning to her colleagues and being like, "It's called "The Kiss," so like, why does it sound so sad?" But the fact that that the Kiners allegedly don't know what's going to happen, like they might not know it's Fee's last time, so they might actually not give anything away, which actually might be desirable. I don't know. Ender, were you saying something about a Death Star sound effect?
Oh yeah, I think that somebody mentioned that actually. Just I was in the process of trying to join when somebody said it was the slide projector thing.
Oh, right.
For the Death Star.
Yeah.
It was used to access the files on the Death Star and here when Tech is doing it, and it's kind of the
Echo.
It's kind of a grinding, ratcheting, humming sound.
Mm-hmm. And was it actually? It was a projector in the original in A New Hope, right? I can't confirm. I just have a memory of it being that. Wait, you're on mute.
Sorry,
okay.
I've been muting when you're talking. Yeah, I don't know for sure. It sounds like a slide projector to me, and I know that Ben Burt definitely used a slide projector for at least a few sounds, for like lightsaber sounds.
Mm-hmm.
But I do not know for sure Sounds like a slide projector to me. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool. And I think I heard a DSC array there as well. Okay, those are basically, showrunners might plan a final character appearance for an episode, but then it gets cut for time, and then the last appearance then becomes the final appearance. Yeah, I can definitely, yeah. Yeah, it's funny sometimes, like, I don't know, just recently watching the show Love on the Spectrum, you see which characters, or like, they're not characters, they're people. Okay, which people didn't make it into the main part of the show, but they're kind of in the part at the end where it's like, what happened since the main part of the show, and they'll just show like footage, like it's like looks like B-roll, I don't know, of random dates happening, but those people never got to be like main cast or whatever. That's lightsaber used as a film. Bert's lightsaber used a film projector. Does anyone else have any other thoughts about this episode, the music? That's pretty much all my notes. Cool.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, well, thank you for joining me, Ender and Tom, and thank you, chat, for your insight as always. We'll be back next week to talk about the season finale, and I'm pretty excited about it, actually. So, yeah.
Definitely.
I feel like I should play outro music, and I will. I'm going to play something that Justin made several weeks ago. This was his recreation of the Fennec Bar music. Anyway, thanks everyone. Oh, it's racking my brain. And Joseph Williams is... Oh, that's right. John Sun was the composer of both Welcome Back and Rock Celebration and was the lead singer of the 80s band Toto. Yes. And if you want to hear a good episode about that, listen to Tony Thaxton's Bizarre Albums. He did an episode on Laptinek. Yeah, and it was really interesting. All right. Bye, everyone.
Cool. Have a good night.